on television. Millwall in London, Scotland.
Good evening, welcome to another edition of that Sunday night live show. This week it is after Plymouth at home, which ended Millwall 1, Plymouth 0. Great result for us, and yeah, well, onwards and onwards. So we are safe. It's now gone down to the final four. Before I go into introducing the other guys, as promised to you, Charlie Kentish, with the dodgy Barnet. Hello and thank you very much. Yeah, I do remember you. I have dealt with you before through something which we won't go into comment on live, but allegedly you're a good boy. And yeah, thanks very much for coming up to me yesterday and seeing us. And thank you very much to loads of you yesterday. And those of you watching live, welcome. Those of you who listen to us Monday morning on your commute to work, thank you very much. And thank you very much for being listeners. Right, with that, as promised, I'm done. We're going to introduce the guests we have on tonight. We have my glamorous assistant, who is always here, the one and only Stephen Jones.
Evening, Mickey, evening. Jay, chaps, you all good?
Yeah, not bad. Shall I introduce Jay now as well? Hello, Jay. How are you doing? You all right?
Evening, Mickey. Evening, Stephen. How are we?
Yeah,
good,
good,
mate. Good. Thank you very much to Beeline. That isn't the finished piece. That is just, I've added some music to that for now, just to show you what we've got coming for next season. And in a couple of breaks in the show as such, we'll have a couple more of those. So you'll see those. So that's not finished, but it's the video. But it's not the finished music as yet. Right then, we won yesterday, which was a fantastic result. It was good for us, I suppose. We needed it. We needed to win to keep his record at the Den alive, which he did. It's not really that great for Plymouth to a degree, because now they've got to go to the last game of the season and hope they win. But it's fantastic for us because, yeah, whatever happens, we're safe. We're in the championship for another season. We've made the championship money for the new season, and yeah, which we'll get into in a little bit about the rebuild scenario. But yeah, your thoughts on yesterday's game, gents?
I'll
Either one of
go
you
in.
wants to come in.
Yeah, I know I will. I'll go in. I thought Plymouth's approach to the game was really, really interesting. They were more than happy to sit on a point and hope that other results went in their favour, which obviously they didn't quite. I know the Birmingham one did to a certain extent because it keeps it in their own hands. And from our point of view, first half, I thought we just looked like we were on the beach. To be honest, it was just a nothing game. It was just, lacking quality, lacking real, it was that end of season feel. A lot of people said it was like a pre-season friendly. Second half, which we'll do first and then second, but second half, I think Neil had told them, right, let's get out there and win this game. We had a few chances, probably should have scored more than the goal that we did. And as you said, Mickey, kept the home form intact for Harris going into the new season, 16 points from 18. Only conceded 2 goals at the Den since Harris has been in charge. Can't really ask for much more than that.
No, I totally agree with you. Jay?
Yeah, no, look, it was, again, look, it's business as usual at the Den for a Millwall team under Neil Harris. It's becoming the norm. It was the norm when he was here last time, so we shouldn't expect anything different. I thought, although it did look a bit pedestrianised at times, I still thought it was a very professional performance, a very let's get the job done mentality. You don't want to lose at home, even though we're safe. What I did notice was, especially in the second half and towards the end of the first half, was I think we saw more of the football that Harris will want to play next year. I thought we was very attacking. I thought Ryan Longman was fantastic again. And we'll come on to probably transfer targets later, but he's got to be one of the first names we look at. And that's going to upset some people, but clearly a Harris type player, clearly wants to play here, clearly a Millwall type player. So, I thought it was a professional performance and we attacked really well. We showed some real good intent. There were some good crosses, good passing. We're going to see a lot of that next year, I think, now that we're safe. Harris is at the player's style of football that just got us safe. So there was some optimism yesterday. Would have liked to see some of the youngsters, but Harris ain't all about losing at the Den over someone's ego and giving someone minutes. It's this is the Den, and this is Harris's forte as such. So no, please sign off with a win.
On that, Jay,
I totally agree with you.
Sorry, on that with the playing of the youth, I do agree that it would have been nice to see a little bit more game time for the youth, but I felt it was really interesting. Obviously, no Obafemi in the starting lineup. Norton Cuffey didn't get brought on, which has been happening over recent weeks. The only players that come on were Billy Mitchell under contract, Romain Esse under contract, Kevin Nisbet under contract. It just, I think Harris was clear. It was clear from Harris's point of view that yesterday was an opportunity for those that are definitely going to be here next year, the chance to get some minutes and let him have a look at them. Sean Hutchinson, that one's a little bit different. I think that might have been a little bit of a goodbye final appearance at the Den, although that's not confirmed.
Well, I'm pretty upset. Sorry to interrupt.
Did you not
I'm
think...
pretty upset with that overall, that he should have started the game and been subbed off for the servant he's been. And I thought Bart should have played a part in the game as well.
Go on, Mickey.
Do you know what was the telling point on there? It was a bit weird that Bart was given the microphone and yet Hutchinson wasn't.
That says to me that I think there's an element that Hutchinson's going to stay.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's going to be necessarily as a player, but I don't think Harris wants to lose him from the dressing room or the coaching setup or whatever it might be. That's the only thing I can think of, because if Hutchinson does now go, that's a little bit of a slap in the face because Hutchinson was made club captain by Harris. He's been club captain since Harris left, I believe. So that one was a little bit odd.
Or is it just that obviously the decision on Bart was already made? Is it that the jury's still out on whether Hutchinson's going to come back from a management and a board point of view? Is it a case of, we need to see what we get in first, whether Hutchinson gets a new deal? He's still got a couple months left to run. This isn't an easy decision to make with your club captain. Maybe it was just that the decision hasn't been made yet.
Maybe, but you'd like to think that these kind of things, it was so obvious. I mean, without jumping the gun before talking about the game, after the game, Harris's comments about, we're looking offensively, we need a number 9. He referenced the fact, which I'm really pleased, that the squad was built for wing backs, and he's not having none of that. He wants wingers, which is, I think, fantastic. That's the way that Millwall need to play. But it just seemed to me that they're already planning ahead, and I just found it strange with Hutchinson. As I say, he's been a favourite of mine. I think he's been superb over the years. Obviously, injury and his age is catching up with him. I would like to think that Hutchinson will stay, and it was just as you say, the decision's not been made, or they're trying to sort of iron out the details. But very telling. But also on the subject of Bart, I thought his speech, what he said, interesting. He was loved at Ipswich. He was loved with us. He's clearly a popular member of the team, so wish Bart all the best. And it was nice to see him get an opportunity to actually address the supporters.
Yeah. Vicky?
Out of all of that, I'm surprised that none of you mentioned anything. Hutch is on much lower wages as squad. that none of you mentioned anything about the pitch invasion.
They're them sort of people who are irrelevant, and I don't really want to give it airtime. Let's just touch on it briefly. It's pathetic. They're full-grown men.
I'm part of it.
It's shocking. We know it's going to happen. It happens every year. Do you know what I mean? Whether we get promoted, whether we go down, whether we just start. It's not the fact that they run on the pitch. You know, lots of people like to do it. It's full-grown men, and then when they're asked to get off, they proceed to spend another half hour trying to beat each other up. It's disgraceful. If any of you are listening, I ain't sorry. You know, you full-grown men. If you actually cared about the club and you support the club, all the people that genuinely support the football club and genuinely care about the football club do not act like that. Because you're risking a ban. You're risking a banning order. Why would you not want to come and watch your beloved Millwall by acting like a fucking idiot? So, no, I don't really want to. If it's all right with you, gents, and the chat, I don't really want to give these morons any more airtime than we need to.
And what I would say, just as a follow-up to that, I do agree, but it's more the fact that the end-of-season awards was at the end of the game, which was poor in the first instance, because it should have been done at the start when the ground was full. And because it took so long for those that went on the pitch to come off of the pitch, people were waiting and thinking, no, I'm not, this is going to take forever.
Yeah,
and
people left.
And people left. Ryan Leonard deserved better than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say it. Yeah. That spoiled Jay's day. It's Jay did a very Morrison type thing there, didn't he? So yeah.
But the thing is,
I can appreciate children running on the pitch. I agree. And all right, you know, your parents have got to do better, but it's a once like kids. It does. I'm okay with kids. When he's full, there was a guy next to me. I'm not kidding you. He was in his 70s or 80s, an old man. And he was with his mates, and he was like, oh, he's going on a pitch, Larry, whatever his name was, he's going filming him. And I looked at him and I thought, you're a veteran, mate. Like, what are you doing? And then there was people fighting, and like you said, it really spoiled it for Lenny. It spoiled it for the young kids or the fans. You know that we've been there all season. Us season ticket holders go home in a way that you want to give you appreciation, and that it's pissing down the rain. And people have got stuff to get back for and get home for, and you haven't got much time to spare. That people ruined it, you know. And it is a shame.
I don't know. I mean, I think I understand where you're coming from, and I think you know the ruined it bit is a bit Morrison, but that's it. But you know those who were a bit more older and known better. There was a couple who. One thing you don't do is get a bit leery with some of the Millwall supporter, because what you'll find is that they will, you know, unless you front it up, they will make you back down. And there was a couple of lads who got a bit too gobby, and I think they probably woke up this morning with a nose or two moved across their face to a degree. I don't condone it, but you know, at the end of the day, mate, don't push the limit too fast. So yeah, I'm testing a couple of bits. I have turned on hang on one second. I have turned on the subscription button, but I know that most of you are already subscribed. But all you need to do is press subscribe to the channel, and then 10 minutes later you'll be able to comment. And make sure you press the like button as well, because there's over 100 odd of you watching on YouTube as well as other channels. But obviously, those of you watching on YouTube, please do subscribe. And make sure you press the like button, and then obviously it goes up and up and up. Go on.
What I was just going to say to add to it is that
I do agree with that one. Sorry,
that the club have got to do a better job of it. They know this is happening. They know that it takes so long to get them off as well. And he kept coming over the tunnel going, "Can you please leave the pitch?" That's just making things worse. Every 30 seconds, they've got to do a better job. The fact that we police it ourselves.
Yeah, the problem is that the club does it every year. It's the second year in a row they've done it after the game as such, and I think that I don't agree with that. I think that realistically, what they should do is have the end of season dinner like the week prior to when the last home game is, so that people who are paying money to go to the end of season dinner will get to see the awards and everything else there, and then just leave it for those people. Don't do the PR around it. And then on the home game, maybe the Thursday, Friday night, or whatever it is, where, whatever it is in the week, maybe a Tuesday night like it is next week. But you do that, and then you have the awards, and then you go forward. Because pretty much by doing it before the awards, you've pretty much nil and void the awards. What's the point of going to the awards? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, you get to spend an hour and a half with two players if you've got a table. You get an hour and a half with them as such. Yeah, okay, fine, I get that. But realistically, what's it for? You already know who's won. So it's not as if you're sitting there going, oh, who do you think's winning? It's literally, oh, well done, Leonard. Well done. They're saying, it's already done and dusted, and you're like, it's the second year it's done this way, and it's the second year it's not worked.
Yeah. To be fair, though, you say that the end of season awards last year was before the final game of the season, and we did the player of the season. So the people at the awards knew who it was first, because we still had the game to play against Blackburn. That's the right way to do it. If you're going to have an end of season awards, you do it first. This year, I get why. I understand why they didn't want to announce details of end of season awards when there was a possibility of going down. And after Huddersfield, imagine after Huddersfield, they'd have put out a message saying, "Oh, come to the end of season awards." There'd have been absolute uproar about it. So I get the timing.
Don't have it.
But I get that it's an event that they're expected to do stuff like that. The club, it's one of those things. You don't have to do it. They don't have to do it, but it's something that the fans want to go to. Might make a little bit of money, etc. That kind of stuff. As Jay said, I think really at the end of the day, I think really we should concentrate on what happened on the pitch and what's going to happen over the summer. The club got it wrong with the end of season awards. Fans running on the pitch is a bit, to me, I've never understood it. Especially someone said, goading the Plymouth fans, who not only I thought they were quite good yesterday, they was a decent away following, but they also got heavily involved with, they backed Roy Lana when Roy walked out onto the pitch. They all of them that were in the ground at the time were quite supportive of that. I think they also had a little bit of a cheer and a clap when John Berylson come up on the screen in the video.
Good crowd,
at the start
mate.
Of the game.
Very good bunch of fans.
So yeah, I think we should just talk about the game and football in that as rather than some people that want to run on the pitch. To be honest, so that's just my opinion.
I think there's been loads of PR from the club this week. There's been loads of PR saying, this has been the best financial season for the club on a commercial entity since 1950. They've sold more shirts, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to, I don't have the figures for it, and I'm not going to disprove it. I'm not going to sit there and go, I'm not going to sit there and say yes or no, but it is, it's hard to think that, with all that fuck up, unless it's something quite simple that, where Fanlytics come in, Millwall had a lot of kit left over or something, or they've got a lot of kit very cheap, and where they've sold it, they've made more profit. But it seems I don't know what the difference is this season of selling, unless it's purely because they've actually printed names on the back of the shirts. And obviously, a lot of fans can go in the club shop rather than waiting. They've got, they can pick up their size with their player on the side of it, and it's just done.
The other thing commercially as well is, and it's the average crowds. The crowds this season, even though we've been poor for the majority of it before Harris. I mean, how many games were we selling out? And people were going, we don't want to sell out under Joe Edwards. We don't want to sell out because we weren't getting results. The fans have come, whether it been from abroad, from local, wherever. That's also where the successful from since the 50s. The average crowd has been excellent. It's just little stuff like that. The shirts obviously have made a difference as well. But it's just
staying in the championship has made it even more sweeter. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just who we got for next year, mate. Who is our sponsor for next year? That is the question. And are we going to get one who's been financially viable as Husky was, or unless Husky stay? I mean, apart from the last season or two where there's been, alleged unpayment or whatever it is, what's going on, which obviously we don't really know solidly. It's between those two. But if we could get someone like Husky again paying the money what they were paying, superb, absolutely superb. But I don't know. It's one of those, isn't it, on that one? So So yeah, we will see on there. I will bring this up now because I think it's interesting. And so, since Harris has been in, we've won 16 points out of 18 at the Den. And overall, in his 12 games, whatever he's been in, how long has he been in? 12 games.
12. It's 12 games.
So, in his last 12 games, and this is a mental statistic, but it's right. It's 40. I think it's something like 41% or whatever it is, isn't it?
46.
And I'll get it in a minute. No, not thingies. Yes, is it 46? I can't remember.
46%.
Yeah. No, 41. It's 41% of Millwall's points this season have come under Neil Harris. He's been back 67 days. No team has taken more since he arrived.
Top of the league.
And if you work out the league on the last 12 games, Millwall are the best performing team in the league. And we've sat here on shows and people have come on here, and I'm still going to stick by what I've said, but Neil Harris isn't the right choice, this, that, and the other. Well, if he's the right choice or not, something's happened the last 12 games. Why is he the best in the league on the last 12 games out of any team in? I mean, even if you look at that, I mean, there's not many of the top clubs in that top half either, in that top bit either. So they've fallen
Neil
apart,
Harris,
and we've done fucking well.
Neil Harris, I think, to be honest, I think most of us were saying a similar thing at the time. Neil Harris might not be the answer long term, but for the short term, he was the right person to come in and give us a chance. We were going down under Joe Edwards. We were 1 point from 20. Harris come in and we'd taken 1 point from 21 games, from 21 points available. Sorry, so you can't. He come in and the club was on its knees. Let's face it, we'd lost to Sheffield Wednesday at home. Ipswich had given us the run around as well at home, and it just looked absolutely woeful. The stats don't lie. Harris has been superb. The players have played for him. I tweeted this morning, I think, that whilst this season was supposed to be for John Berylson for 3/4 of it, the players didn't. But for the last 2 months, they've done it for him. They've done it for the Berylsons. They've done it for Harris. They've got us over the line. And look, I don't know what the future will hold. I don't know what's going to happen with Millwall moving forward and what Neil Harris is going to do and whether it's going to be successful. But the man has earned the respect, and for me, he should have earned the backing of the supporters for next season. If they didn't have it beforehand, he's certainly earned it. And for me, as I say, right person for this season. I was sceptical about he's going to be difficult. However, in my opinion, he has earned the right to be a championship manager next season for this football club.
The thing is, sorry, Mick, I was just going to say, the thing is that it don't matter who's in charge next season, whether it's Harris, whether you go and get a young forward-thinking manager. We're still going to be in this situation next season. It's not going to have anything to do with management. The squad needs severe overhaul. The finances we need to build. Like it's not going to happen in the summer. The next season is still going to be a struggle. So I don't. What is the point in going out and getting this young forward-thinking manager when Harris deserves it clearly, and we can build with Harris's knowledge of the club, and then have a succession plan. Harris knows he's not the long-term answer. I think that's key here. Harris knows it. Harris, he said it. He knows it. So
I mean, the thing is, you've got is obviously you've now got a rebuild with the team, right? Neil Harris, he knew what to do to get the results that we got in. But the trouble is now is that we know the players who are going to be there. It's now all about the players we bring in, and they're going to be the difference between us getting promoted. And if we didn't, I mean, I think chaps on his show earlier, it's I think Dan Riggs had just put it in a comment as well, actually. But yeah, if we had carried on like we did, then we would have probably been on 88 points, and that would have put us second place. That would have given us promotion.
And that's it. And with the players that are coming in, just going on to that quickly, I I think that Harris made a comment. It might have been in his press conference after Sunderland, I'm not sure, where he said that it's the players that have come in, it's about the club, not the manager. And that's what Joe Edwards was saying previously. It's not, they have to fit in the way that the club wants to play, not for a specific manager. Now, I get that that's open to interpretation, but Harris is going to build a squad over the summer and then maybe move into January that can obviously keep us safe next season, but be the kind of starting block for the new person to come in the following summer. I don't think, again, Harris's form, you can, it's always if, buts and maybes, but the form that he's seen us in, he's been absolutely superb. It would stack up with promotion challenging form.
23.
Would we have, if we'd have got rid of Joe Edwards a bit earlier, would we have been safe earlier? Would the same effect would have happened? Who knows? But absolutely superb, deserves all the credit that he's going to get.
Archie C's put in a comment, right? And I'm not necessarily putting all the comments up, gents. And the reason why is because there's a few of you that listen to us as a podcast rather than watch us live. And one of their biggest gripes to a degree were we love the lives and we love the interaction, but sometimes you guys are laughing or talking about a comment where you don't necessarily speak out in full. So I won't necessarily put them up, but I will speak the comments out. So Archie C's put a comment on and said, still needs to be an inquest into the playing squad. If they can play like they have for Harris, then they could have done that for Rowett and Edwards. Something was wrong. And to me, I totally agree with what Archie's saying, because to me, I think that if you can play like you have for the last 12 games, and you've seen the stats, you've seen the table there, we are the best informed team in the league, right? Out of that, I mean, I think we won 7 games out of 12 on his run, and yet they couldn't perform under Rowett and they couldn't perform under Edwards. The style of football isn't massively different between Rowett and Harris. Okay, I know that you'll probably come in and go, well, it is from Edwards. Okay, we'll leave Edwards out to a degree. That was purely because they probably didn't really have a lot of respect for him, or they just fucking couldn't. They're too old in the tooth to be running around like he wanted them to run around. But Harris and Rowett, we looked at the stats in our group a few weeks back, and if potentially with the way Rowett was going in the first part of the season, we could have potentially been relegation fodder under him, and yet with Neil, we've survived it. But why can't the players play? What's the problem with the players?
Rowett had given up. The
players give up.
The players have played for Rowett for 3 seasons, and Gary Rowett had us on the edge of the playoffs. Last season, we should have done it, we know. So they were playing for him previously. Rowett had given up. He should have gone in the summer. Events happened with John. He was kept on. But I think James Berylson probably said to him, look, give it one more go. And I just don't think Rowett really, I don't think he was fully committed to the cause. Joe Edwards, I have my opinions. I know it's different to yours, Mickey, but Joe Edwards was asking Millwall Football Club to change its identity within the space of 2 months. It was never, ever going to work. And he was out of his depth. Let's be honest, he was.
I think the problem was that people don't like change, and there was a kickback for people wanting change. It's a bit like what Daily Mills put in there. How many of you had bosses you don't like, but you still do the job?
Yeah, see, look, I agree with that. I agree that
players are fucking, whichever way you want to look at it, players, they perform. Same as Bassett. They performed for Rowett for 3 seasons.
Yeah, but the players do need to shoulder it. We could blame Rowett, we could blame Joe Edwards and what have you. The players need to shoulder the majority of the blame, because ultimately the only common denominator in the form this season has been the players. The manager's changed 4 times, if you include Adam Barrett. So, the players need to shoulder the blame. I think Rowett had ran its course. I thought last year was that final push. I thought if he couldn't do it this year, that's it. Recruited pretty well, but started poor. The off-season stuff with JB, I just think Rowett was heart-burning it. I think the players realised that this isn't going any further. There probably wasn't any drastic changes. There certainly wasn't from a style aspect or on the field style of play. So they were both 50-50 to do with that. I think Edwards was the right man, wrong time. And he did try to change it and try to bring freshness in. We just ultimately didn't have the squad to do it. I think the players knew that. And I just think Edwards wasn't cut from that cloth where he will grab a player by the scruff of his neck and make an example of him in front of the dressing room and say, look, if you don't fucking pull your socks up, you're out. You know,
but can you do that now, though? That's the problem. I mean,
Harris does. Obafemi said it in so many words that he has done.
But that's what I've said on plenty of shows since Harris come in. The reason Harris come in is that Harris is a no-nonsense man. And the problem is he knows the Millwall set up within the club that well that people know him, and he knows that, you know, he will be left to basically fully manage the players, the process and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, whether or not Rowett, his man management wasn't great. You know, I would have thought that personally Edwards' man management was probably better, as in putting an arm around the players and all that. I think possibly that you had an issue of the players not rating him because he's never really played professional football at a level. And let's be honest, you know, there are a fair few prima donnas within the football world what probably would look at him like that. And then obviously, you know, Barrett come in, didn't really do a lot. And then Harris come in and maybe the fear factor kicked in, because I personally, knowing Neil for quite a few years and whatnot, I would not want to take a bollocking from Neil. No, I'll take a bollocking from many people, but I wouldn't necessarily want one from Neil.
No, he's openly said that the players have openly said it, and we said it on the pod that as soon as they heard the news that Neil Harris was coming back to the club, I wouldn't be shocked if half of them bent over in the dressing room waiting for it, because it was coming, and he shoved a rocket up their arse. If you could put Joe Edwards and Gary Rowett into one manager, you probably do get a form of Neil Harris, in a sense. Do you know what I mean? And we do just need that modernisation a little bit with the club. But look, we talk about Rowett and Edwards to the cows come home. They're not here anymore. There's no point discussing them. Harris is here for the now.
It's a wasted season, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying it for. It's not, you know, it's not about the managers. It's about the same players have been here all season. And realistically, if they'd have played as well as they did the last part of the season, in the beginning, the middle part of the season, we would now be absolutely ecstatic, looking forward to playing, you know, the likes of Aston Villa, Tottenham, Man United, Man City, etc. next season. As it is, we're now looking forward to Portsmouth. We're now looking forward to fucking, you know, Leeds, hopefully, and etc. etc.
But the sad thing is, right, or the hypothetical thing is, sorry, Mick, is that if we beat Blackburn last season and made the playoffs, I honestly think we'd go and win the playoffs, because we played Luton off the park twice last year. Coventry, we peppered Coventry as well. Like, them playoffs were there to be won for us. That's the hindsight of it. It demoralised the club so badly. We took such a bad wound from it that it just rolled into. There was just no stopping that ball rolling downhill. Harris has steadied it, stopped bleeding, and that's it.
No, that's it. That's it. Michael Dunn's put in the comments, he's put, Neil Harris told Aldo we need a centre-half, and he went away to ask around the top championships centre-halves who fit the bill. Aldo ran the player, and it turns out it was Hutch. That's why Hutch wasn't on the mic. Don't disagree with him there, to be fair. As long as you can keep him fit, then he's there. So
I don't know. I think much like similar to what Jay just said.
Thanks, Richard.
I hope this season we can stop talking about Gary Rowett and Joe Edwards moving forward. It's done. It's finished. The players, for whatever reason has gone on before. It didn't work. It hadn't worked for a long time. And as Jay said, Harris has come in and he's stopped the rot and he's got us to a good place. So maybe much like Sean Hutchinson, love the guy, but if he's still part of the playing squad and a major part of the playing squad next year, that could be an issue for me moving forward. But, you know, at the end of the day, this season will be one that people will forget probably quite quickly. They might not forget, obviously, John Berylson, and they shouldn't. But this season, after what happened last year, we did have the hangover. It has maybe been a wasted season, as some would put it. However, I think it's the reality check that perhaps we needed as a club, that we were punching above our weight, and we do have to move as a club moving forward in a lot of aspects to get to where they say they want to be.
Look, listen. The reason, Richard Smith coming, I stopped listening to this podcast because it got negative. I don't know about that. Thought I would tune in tonight, but nothing's changed. So switching off. No worries, Richard. Thanks, mate. I don't think it's negative. I think we've got every right in the world to talk about Rowett and Edwards and Barrett, etc., because it's still that season. And what I'm saying is that last season, when we lost against Blackburn and had that great big end to the season where it was so disappointing, you would have expected really that the players would have been absolutely jumping at the bit to go, right, do you know what, next season we're going to we're just going to go for it. We could have done it this season. We didn't. We're going to go for it. And yet we did pre-season. We did look like we were up for it. You know, Nesbitt looked as if he started firing on all cylinders. We had it all there. And then all of a sudden, whatever reason, we didn't. Now I'm just hoping that next season is going to be, Championship's going to be slightly harder. You've got, the teams coming up and down. And hopefully next season we grab it by the horns and actually give it a good fucking go for it, because we are capable. We're playing with these people if we put our heart and soul into it.
Look, I said it before, and this might, if Richard's still listening, which he says he's not, he's turned off. And if he wants to call me negative, that's absolutely fine. Next season is not a season that we're going to be challenging for the playoffs unless something drastic happens in the transfer window and we manage to find some money from somewhere. Next season is about putting the club into a position that when Harris does depart at the end of next season, that whoever takes over can bring the club forward. That's the objective for next year. Harris will look for a cup run, something that Rowett never did, and Edwards, I don't know what his thoughts were. He only had one FA Cup tie that we lost to Leicester. I obviously would like to see my team successful. We all would. The guys in the chat obviously would as well. However, I think we have to be realistic and say this is the starting block. This is what Joe Edwards probably needed, a rebuild season, not come in halfway through, which is where Jay said right person, wrong time. The club are going to go a different way. Give Harris the opportunity to build a squad that can play for this football club, and then next summer hand it over to someone that will be able to take us to the next level. That's realistically what I think we're going to be doing next season. People might disagree with me. You guys might disagree with me, but I can't see us doing anything more than that. I'd love us to, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
I think what you're going to see next season. Yeah, I think what you're going to see with the current squad we've got, we're probably, to be fair, maybe bottom half table. Sort of halfway to pretty much where we are this season to a degree, without the relegation issue. But it's down to, has the club now gone on a process where they're going to be looking at how they want players to fit into a strategized team format of playing style, regardless of what manager comes in. If that's going to be the case, then I think the rebuild will be good. If it's going to be based around what the manager who's currently in there is choosing, then I think not. But looking at the press stuff with Harris and stuff, I think it's pretty much the club have an idea of what they want, and then I think they're going forward with that. So yeah, I agree with Tony W. We're never going to be next level with our budget, but we can probably find a few little gems and hope. To be honest, we've got a lot of gems in the under 18s and the under 23s. We just need to give them a shout, because if we keep not giving these people a shout, then they're going to go elsewhere to get their football, and then we're going to lose people who potentially would be benefits for us, wouldn't it?
Yes, and
thank you for
like
that.
Stephen just said as well.
Killing me.
It's it's the right thing to do by giving Harris more of a task in maybe identifying that next manager, maybe having a say in that sense. And then does Harris move upstairs? That's got to be at the forefront. You can't just let Harris come in, save us, give him 12 months for out of goodwill, and then say see you later and send him over the hills, and then start the process. Harris has got to be involved in this process. He just has to. He's the only one that gets the club, and his input is seriously credible. I think that would be the best thing to do. I think Harris realises he's probably not long term. But then on the other side of it, gents, we don't know what Harris is like now. We've not seen his actual style of football. He's come in and he's had to play a very regimented style just to keep us up. Next season, he could be expansive. We saw a lot of it in the second half against Plymouth with not his team. Let's be honest, this isn't his team. So he might be the guy. Harris might be that guy.
Oh, I agree. And there's some comments coming through saying why wouldn't Harris stay on long term? And as I say, it could happen. We could start fantastic next year. Yeah, we could start fantastic next year, and people are going, hold on a minute, get him a new contract, sign him up longer. That could happen, and I'm not disputing that. But I think realistically, knowing the finances, knowing what's been said, Harris has even said himself, hasn't he, that his job is to, when he leaves the football club, it's to be in a better position than when he took it over. So, but that's kind of what he wants. That's what he's been told. Football, anything can happen in football. Anything, Leicester won the league at 5,000 to 1, so anything could happen. But that's the plan.
The problem is that we, over our history, and Daily Millwall and Gazza and stuff who are listening, and others will listen, and the same what Alex S has said there, and I fully agree with him. Our successful periods in history usually correspond with a crop of decent youngsters coming through together. 87, 88, 71, 72, or 73. There has been periods. You're looking at when Mark Beard and that come through as well. We were nearly there. What was that? 95 when we had Chelsea 95. And Arsenal and all that. We had a great crop of youngsters coming through, which then with the momentum and everything else, because they've been used to playing each other since the youth, all of a sudden you can propel yourself forward. And that's the bit at the moment where you're just looking and you're just going, are youth going to really get an opportunity to come through? And if you look at this season, we didn't really play the youth we had enough, really.
Well, we got to be careful of that, because during that time with Mark Beard as well, we looked like we could get promoted, and then we got rid of everybody, and then we got relegated. So we got to be very careful with how we approach this, because we haven't been that type of club.
But why did we get rid of people?
Well, the same reason not the same reason that other teams get rid of people, but that's neither in or there. But
because we've always been pretty much a selling club
at a very low selling club.
If you think about, and again, it's going back to something what I listened to Mark Beard on Under the Cosh, and you had Mark Beard, you had Thatcher, you had Roberts, you had who else did you have in there? I can't think of the other ones in there now off the top of my head, but it's gonna throw me out now. I'll come to me in a sec. But if we'd have kept those players for a year or two, or a couple of seasons, 3-4 seasons, we could have possibly built on something to go up and give a shout. But unfortunately, it got to a stage where they went. I mean, Mark Beard turned around and said, that he wasn't getting played, and an agent or someone was in there. He didn't have an agent. There was an agent there who basically said, "Oh, are you unhappy here or something?" And he said, "Well, I want to be playing football." That agent then went and got a bid for him from another club, and that bid come in, and Mick McCarthy took it and went, "Right, yeah, we'll have that. Off you go." And
he's one of the best squads we've ever had.
That was the problem. All of a sudden, yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, Kennedy and Stevens.
Kennedy went to what? Kennedy went to Liverpool, didn't he?
Yeah.
as a
Great
as a
team.
winger, I think, but he was probably going to be a fantastic centre forward. He was just.
And
There were some
he
good
was one of the
players
few
in,
inverted forwards that you looked at and thought that's not really a position. The inverted forward, is it? That Mo Salah, that type of position weren't a thing. And that was Kennedy. It was like we had such a great team, and then we did what most Millwall teams do. They go, oh, we've been offered 50 quid. Take that because that's something. And that's what we'll do this time around.
Yeah,
that's what we'll do with SA.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
The problem is, though, the problem is that football nowadays is different than what it was in the 90s and the 80s and
Same
the 70s.
principles
And I
at this
do
football club.
same principle. I understand that, but if the club are serious about moving forward, both on and off the pitch, they have to be more savvy with their business sense. I hate to talk about Millwall as a business or any football club as a business, but ultimately they are businesses. They are there, they operate, and it's about cash flow. It's about what you can get for your assets and developing and moving forward. This season, we probably should have played the youth a little bit more than we have. Admittedly, we were at the bottom of the league. It's probably harder to do that. Will Harris do it next season? I don't know. I'd like to think that he would, but if any of those youngsters that are coming through that an offer comes in for with sell-on fees and all these, I think I saw Charlton bought that Alfie May, didn't they, last summer? And one of the clauses were if he was the top goal scorer in the division, that his club that they bought him from would receive more money, and they now have.
But
stuff like that.
They always do.
No. But what I'm saying is that Millwall have to be using those kind of things. If these youngsters are as good as what we think they are, or the club think they are, and someone comes in for them, put the clauses on, ask for more money, make it beneficial to us.
But is it though? I mean, getting, right, you can have X player, but if he scores over 20 goals a season for you, then we want another 20 grand. Fucking 20 grand for him scoring there. We're not going to get bundles.
I'm not saying that you use the same thing as that. I'm saying that use the sell-on fees, use that kind of stuff. I mean, but
they do that already.
No, they in recent history. Come on, we haven't been doing that for a long time. We haven't been.
But in the last 5 years, there's been add-ons, and a lot of the youth we've got rid of. There's been add-ons.
I understand that, but they haven't
captain their club or captain England or play in England. All of that they do. But you think it's the youth we got rid of. You look at 95 or around there. You look at it. So you've got Kennedy, Thatcher, Roberts, Goodman, Cullingham. You've got Ifill, Reed, etc., etc. They were all cracking players. If they were given a longer period of time in our teams, we could be looking completely different. But it was all about the way the club was run and all that. We're now at the prime time where we've got someone running the club who actually is a good chairman owner of the club, that we don't necessarily need to be looking at selling. Surely we should be able to rebuild. And some of those youngsters, we've sat on here all season and you've been sitting there going, Malachi and this one and that one. And they're all players. Well, most of the comments now would sit there and go, oh, this player should have a go, this player should have a go. But they don't. But surely makes more sense to keep the experience what we've got, bring in a few of the youth through pre-season, get them working together and see what's what, and then possibly walk forward with your team then. Balance it between youth, speed and experience and with, solid the solid experience pros. And then that's how you build
managing the club though. It comes down to who's managing the club. Rowett was not that guy. Edwards, I thought, would be that guy. It just got away from him. And Harris, I think, will have a slight blend, a better blend of using youth. He used Billy Mitchell, Danny McNamara a hell of a lot. I think he will if he can see the talents there, but they have to be very specific for Harris to do that. I think a lot of it does depend on the manager. It does depend on the price tag that clubs are coming in for. And it depends on what we're going to do. We haven't got a great deal of finances. We haven't got a big squad. It all depends on what we can do after the fact when we've received that money. You don't want to just let a great player or good player go for a lot of money and then we can't replace it. We failed to do that with George Saville. We failed to do that with Steve Morrison the first time around as well. and we showed it to Norwich. So the club has been in a poor situation from player sales for a long time.
I agree with what Turner says as well. David says it's a huge jump from the under-21s to the Championship.
Yeah,
and that's
fully
it.
agree.
That's it.
But if you're loaning the players out potentially, like you did with Mitchell, maybe Esse should have been loaned out.
Yeah. The thing is, it's a big jump from the
And then come
under-21s to the
next
Championship
season-
when you say it, but do it, and then you'll know if it's a big jump or not. Some of these players can handle it. Right, look at Alafe.
No, that's it. So, yeah.
Alafe's one we've got a buyback clause on. He scored 20 goals this season. Is it a big jump for him to come up? It may well be, but someone who's banged in 20 goals in a professional season, and he's up in League One now, they're not that far away. Someone who's banged 20 goals in, big, physical, young. Why not give him a go? Why not go after that Alfie May from Charlton? Why not go after these players and give ourselves something? Because there is, give ourselves something. We did it with Morrison. Everyone said that step up for Morrison was too much at the time. They all said that. And Lee Gregory, they said that when he comes from Halifax. They said, he's come from Halifax. Who's this fella? He isn't physical. He's not quick. Everything went against Gregory, but he was very like Neil Harris, very close to being like a Neil Harris type player. And they both thrived. So it just shows if you can find these gems, they will cut it, but they'll never cut it if you don't ever give them a chance.
That's it. No, that's it. So come on then, Stephen, let's go on to your stats, what you want to play with. Something where you didn't believe that it was, but which I didn't believe it was when you told us pre-show. Your unbelievable stat then from penalties.
Well, I'll start it with that we haven't really spoke too much about the game yesterday. And one thing that I was going to actually talk about and bring up, and I'm sure the guys in the chat, you would have seen it yesterday. In the first half, there was an incident where George Saville was absolutely shoved in the back in the penalty area. He went flying. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it's a penalty all day long. We all know it. But at Millwall, we don't tend to get many penalties. And I saw on Twitter, forgive me, I don't know the guy's name. I'm going to try and find it so I can give him a little bit of credit because it's down to him that I actually found this out. However, he posted that we haven't received a penalty at home since for 925 days. So to be precise, that would have made it the 16th of October 2021. We played Luton at home that day in the league and we lost 2-0 and we actually missed a penalty. It was Jed that missed the penalty. And it got me thinking. I thought, I'm going to have a look at that. And Jay, I know that you're going to have something to say on the Jake Cooper piece. And whilst I agree with you, I think there's two sides to it, but I do agree. I do agree with partly
do the good bag and the ugly on that. Good bad.
21-22 season, 5 penalties, 2 at home, 3 away. 22-23, 3 penalties all away from home. And 23-24, we've had 2 penalties away from home with 1 away fixture left. How, when you see Jake Cooper and the incidents that go on, he's one player. There's other incidents as well that where we've been denied Stonewall penalties, but we haven't received a home penalty since the 16th of October 2021. I find it absolutely incredible. And I looked up, I think Leicester this season in all, home and away have received 16 penalties. I would imagine that a lot of those would have been at the King Power. The teams at the top of the league create more chances. That's an they're expected to get more. But I just think, no, it doesn't surprise me. But the sheer, we talk about, if we got to the Premier League and how VAR would probably cost us. I said yesterday, if we got to the Premier League, we'd end up with no points because VAR would take away all our goals for some unknown reason.
It's Millwall hate, mate. We get these terrible refs. We have terrible refs down at the Den. The crowd get on their back. We make it horrible for them. There is some serious bias there. And they think, fuck you, I'm not giving that. We see it all the time. It ain't just around penalties. It's just decisions in general. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Is it that, or is it that we're just not fucking? Is it that, or is it that we're just not fucking masters of the dark art?
No, there's that as well. We don't sell it enough, or we make it. We make the problem. So the problem I have, and Stephen's already alluded to the thing with Jake Cooper. Jake Cooper is a lump, right? If he goes down like he's been shot, it's really not believable. And every time he's genuinely failed, he flops. He's like LeBron James, for those of you that watch basketball. He flops so hard, like he's a fish been shot out of water, that the refs just don't believe it. They just go, well, that you look at you. What are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. Because he tries to just genuinely try and play football, try and play the ball, and you might win some penalties, because he's the worst player I've seen at going against himself. He fouls the opposition so much, and then when he's genuinely fouled, he just flops, and the refs go, you would have had that. You've died.
I get that, but I'm gonna counter that with, and I agree that he's the way that he does a lot of fouls, and you see him use his hands. As soon as you push like that, you're in trouble.
Always.
However, if you're telling me that so in the last 2 seasons, that's 46 fixtures, and including the fact that it was October for the one before, so you're looking at nearly 60 fixtures, and not one of the incidents on Jake Cooper has been a foul and a penalty.
No, yeah.
That's not right. That just cannot be right. And look, I'm not saying that we deserve a penalty. I mean, I'd love us to get a penalty every week. It'd be great to have an opportunity to score from 12 yards. But to not get one at home, especially where you've had big games at the Den, in recent history, going for the playoffs, or this year, Harris's return and whatnot. Big games, and the fact that the pressure of the crowd, they always say, didn't they, that the home supporters get on the ref's back and it helps it aids them make a decision. I just find it absolutely astonishing that we haven't had them. And it's not just Jake Cooper. If you think about, Tom Bradshaw, with all the work that he's done, the handballs that might have been missed, tackles, shoves on Fleming, shoves on other defenders. It's just absolutely incredible. Absolutely
I agree,
incredible.
but with the players, every single one of them, they go down like they've been sniped from a distance. They really do. Fleming, just his arms go up in the air, and it's poor. It's just genuinely go down. Cooper is so manhandled. It is a joke how badly he's failed, but he then does not help the ref, because the minute all the ref will see during that comeuppance and the scuffle in the box is Jake Cooper's arms going up in the air like he's a wavy, inflatable tube man. I can't even say it properly. That's all the ref sees. And he goes, oh, well, you've dived. Or he sees his hands on his back, because that's how he gets up. When he doesn't need to, he's 6 foot fucking Godzilla size. So he doesn't need to do that. But Jake Cooper doesn't help himself. The refs are appalling. There was countless handballs yesterday. Literally, the geezer's lent his arms out, and the refs just waved it by. A foul for them in the same position is a foul against us in the same position is not a foul for them in the same position. It is bias against us. So knowing that, now the club know that, Harris know that. We've made reports before about the level of refereeing down the Den. Surely the players and the staff should start to try and counter that and realise we're not getting anything. Stop fucking flapping your arms. Stop diving. Stop going down like you've been shot, and actually try and win the penalty genuinely, because we know we're not going to get any help, like your Leicesters, like your Premier League bias that you get. That's how it works. We've got to understand that, and that's on us for not realising that when we know that happens.
The other thing with Jake Cooper as well, and I often say this is something, and I understand why they do it, but I really wish, knowing that Cooper does give fouls away and does get fouled, I wish they'd use Cooper as a decoy. Put him somewhere in the box, so he's obviously, the opposition have got, but don't aim at him. Aim at one of the other defenders. If you've got Hutch playing, if you've got Tanganga, if you bring in a bigger centre forward to aim at, and give the refs something else to think about, because instantly, let's face it, we all know the ball comes into the box, it's aimed at Jake Cooper. He's the one who's going to win the header. He's the one that they're going to aim for, and that's just the end of it. Do something a little bit different and give the referee something else to think about, because as soon as you say that you see the hands, it's a foul.
Well, Jake Cooper, he scored most of his goals. In fact, a lot of his goals, and won a lot more when he was playing with Murray Wallace, because Murray Wallace was a massive problem from set pieces.
Yeah.
massive problem. There's someone else to think about. We do just lump it to Jay Cooper, and you've got your Savills and your Flemings, who aren't the biggest, but we do need to add in that department. We need to get big. A lot of the teams that have come down the den, I'll go, fuck, this could go to anyone. Look at the size of them. Jay Cooper's a very easy, defendable target. You stick their biggest guy on him, and then you give him 1 or 2 for extra measure. And we need to get better at that.
There was a comment that come up. I think it was Alex that put up and said something about, on the flip side, how many fouls that George Saville manages to draw every single week. He is the master. He is the master of being in trouble and in a sticky situation, falling over foul. And
he learned that from Harris.
Yes, he did. That is from the Neil Harris coaching manual, because Harris did exactly the same thing in a Millwall.
The time wasting down in the corner. Down in the corner. Neil Harris, he could keep that ball in that corner for 6 minutes if he wanted to. The second he felt a nudge in the back, he was over.
Yeah.
And we need to get nasty. We need to stop being so honest. We got really honest over the last few years, and Harris will install a bit more of a be a bit nasty now, and it will start to change. The dark arts, it will start to change.
Yeah.
But the penalty stat is telling of how bad the refs are, the bias against us, the favour for the Premier League clubs, and the hate for Millwall, and also our own inability to counteract it.
One thing I would say, just another point, and another comment that come up was about the style of football and strikers running into the box, and that's probably why we've not got penalties. One thing I would be interested to see if that stat changes next season. And Harris, I said it earlier, and I'm going to go back to it. Harris alluded that the squad had been built for wing-back system, which he clearly doesn't fancy. He's not having none of it. That's not his style of play whatsoever. And I thought Ryan Longman yesterday was, as you said, Jay, superb, running at his fullback, trying to put crosses into the box, trying to cause danger. If we're going to go down the Neil Harris style of football and have 2 wingers either side, you might find that you get more penalties, because you're going to have wingers running in the box, taking on their fullback. They're going to get tripped, or they're going to cut inside. The style of play does come into it, and I understand that if you're not getting in the box, then you're not going to win penalties. So I can see that, but I can see under Harris us having that real direct wingers that could then earn your penalties, earn your free kicks, and then that you might see a change in fortune there.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I agree with that. Just a comment, just quickly, I want to think, because I don't necessarily know that this is actually 100% gospel. Barry Taylor's put in the chat, Berylson's money is now in the hands of trustees. James is not in control, and we'll have to ask the trustees to approve the checks. John Berylson was never
the owner,
the person it was. It's been Chestnut Hill Ventures for a while. Last season before. So that's probably still the same. With there is a group of people, but there are probably 3 or 4 trustees, or 3 or 4 from Chestnut Hill Ventures will sit on Millwall board. So John Berylson wasn't the sole beneficiary, because if it was, then after his passing, sadly, then we would be in a lot of trouble now if it was, because of obviously everything having to pass through and everything else. But if you look at the accounts and whatnot, it's Chestnut Hill Ventures it's not John Berylson. So John Berylson's personal wealth might well be in the hands of trustees, but Chestnut Hill is obviously I don't know how they work it, but it's going to be the same as what it was before. So we'll see on that one.
Moving along.
One player I think that we do need to mention, and we've mentioned him so many times, and again yesterday, his tackle just summed up the season that he's had in the second half on Morgan Whittaker. Ryan Leonard just capped off the season. I know there's a game to go, with an assist, and again he did it at Swansea a couple of years ago on Michael Obafemi as well, which is quite interesting. But that man, and he has changed his Millwall career around. I never got on his back initially. I've stuck by him all the way through. People thought he was a replacement for George Saville when Saville left, and he wasn't. He was never going to be a goal-scoring midfielder. Harris said yesterday that he thought that Ryan Leonard was the best right-back in the Championship, and And I don't know what you guys think on this, but it's hard to argue with that on this season's showing. It really is.
I agree. I'm glad
So Alex S has put a question in and says, going forward, is Lenny now a right back? And what does that mean for Danny Mack?
He's been fantastic at left back. Honestly, I think Danny Mack has been brilliant at left back. It's been very hard.
Yeah.
You notice that when we was, the pod was pretty negative. We was losing a lot of games. Danny Mack was a very easy scapegoat for a lot of fans, for the club as well. For the managers. No one said a word about Danny Mack, and that tells me more about Danny Mack's performances than his performances do itself. He's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and fair play to him. That is such a difficult thing to do for someone who's so one-footed like Danny Mack to just transition like that. It shows he wants to play for the shirt, he wants to play for Harris, and Harris has got trust in him. I honestly think the whole let's have Brian there to coach him or get a vet in or whatever. No, make that Danny Mack's job and go run with it next season.
He ain't a horse.
He deserves it. No, but he has. Look, let's give the credit where it's due. He has been brilliant. Now, I do agree with Baz's comment coming up. Baz says can't keep playing Danny Mack at left back. You need a left-footed left back. I do agree with that, especially when you want to play a direct winger, wide forward style of football. I do agree with that, but Danny Mack is one of the best pure one-on-one defenders we have at the club. There is a place for Danny Mack at this club. And if you can't go and find a left back because the finances are tight and we need to strengthen everywhere else, I'll be more than happy going into the season with Danny at left back.
Yeah. No, that's it. No, I totally agree with that. So, just a brief intermission before we carry on talking football. I had a visitor to my house today. Richard Lacey, who's I think watching on phone. Hello, mate. Are you all right? And Lou, who's watching, I think, on Facebook. Hello, Lou. You all right? His wife. I have this end of season gift for me, brand new, and I don't know what it looks like yet. But there are some other bits what we're gearing up on as well, because we're gonna do possibly some Father's Day gifts. Our Laura's there. Yeah, we're going to do some Father's Day gifts potentially for end of season, which will, or on Father's Day, which look like these. These are all leather. I don't think you can really see them that clearly. I'll get some pictures, but different Dad Days things. So there's loads of those. It's general comments. What are a lot of these T-shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, but we'll see what this is first. And then I'll tell you the bad news about this. Oh, I like this. Oh,
we're in suspense, aren't we, Jay?
Right? This is
the package looks suspect, so I'm glad he's opening it on stream.
If I turn that off a sec, there we go. So this is a water bottle, in white, with the logo and all the shows and different comments what we've made throughout the time. But this is an end of season one for me with the JB thing on there as well, and all the different bits. But you know what's really good? And it's a 23-24 season.
Yes.
But look what they've done. Thank you so much for this, Lo. This is brilliant. Every one of the listeners who comment week in, week out over this season, they've named you all on there. Every one of you.
Cool.
So
yeah, that's cool.
American Rover, Line, Dan Riggs, John Parr, London Line, Daily Millwall, Paul Llewellyn, Curtis Galloway, Peter Sharp, Schultz, Big E, John C, Gaz of London, Carl Brazier, Peter Sullivan, Rosalind, Mill Holdings. Mate, that's very nice. Thank you very much. No, it's not a strap on London Line. Fuck you. that is absolutely superb, and I'm going to keep that. But I'm going to post a link on the group, on the chat on YouTube. If you want to join the waiting list for some of our merch, these are going to be very limited, and we don't know on the full price yet. But I think I'm told that currently they can only do about 10 of these or 9 of these. But if you're interested, there's going to be a waiting list form, and just go into that, fill out your details. There's like for the prediction game for next season, tick that box, and then you can do the Father's Day stuff what we've got coming up, or you can just get in line with the merch, and we can get in touch with you if you're interested and tell you what we're doing and go from there. But I've just posted that link in the YouTube chat. So if you're watching on to be fair, too small for Mickey's strap on. Thanks very much for that. But no, it's one of these thermal cups. Yeah, it's it's the thermal cup, mate, and that's the bollocks, mate. It's got all the thingy on there. Grumpy Fuckers Club. I turn up with, I think, there's some names of shows what are up and coming for next season. The shows, but for thank you very much, Lou. Thank you for that. The boys were probably going to be jealous, but fuck them, They probably want one, so yeah, they'll probably be on that list. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I will give.
Yeah, bitterly disappointed actually. That's really cool.
Much for that. Yeah. There's loads of bits, mate. Yeah, there's tins. There's even what Stephen was talking about, but not fully designed yet. But
the cards, yeah, that's cool. That's good. That is. That's cool.
QR codes, love that. Love that. Lots to come, chat. Lots to come in the off season.
No,
that Millwall podcast is taking over the world.
Well, those of you who are on Hoff, who would sit on Hoff, there's something what I'm doing on Hoff, and I picked up the goodies today. There's 2 of these for a well-known Hoff person who I'm doing a little auction to raise some funds for them. And there's one more. I've got 2 coming up, but there's the Millwall.
Yeah, nice, mate. Nice. Lots
87, 88, but that's for a Hoff. But we've got some ideas. We're looking for Father's Day. Again, join that list if you want to be in, because it will be very, very limited. And then you go from there, mate. So yeah. All right, one sec, Pete. I'll order that list so you can change multiple options. So yeah. No worries,
all good stuff, mate. All stuff moving in the right direction as well. Everyone seems to really enjoy it. The pod's only going to get busier. The people think that the pod's going to die down when the season ends. It's not. It's going to get busier. We're going to run through the Euros as well. We're going to do exactly the same stuff that we do with Millwall for the Euros as well. So if anyone's interested in that, let us know you're happy with that, because this is only going to get a lot more frequent, a lot more stuff coming out, as you can see, quality gear from Mick there. So, and it only comes, all of this, from all of your support. So, Alex S, I wouldn't quite just put I'm on the register. I wouldn't say that just them words. I'd add to that, because reading that back is a bit funny. But look, yeah, no, that's all really good stuff, Mick. It's it definitely shows the support from everybody.
I can't wait for Bukayo Saka to miss a penalty in the Euros, and for us to do a live on a Friday after.
Richard would never come back, I don't think, if that happened. No, it's look.
No, I've changed the form now to tick box, so you'll be able to tick more than once. So yeah. Jonathan, don't necessarily know what's his name said. So
Alex,
so,
Jonathan.
So yeah. We will do the whole Euros, regarding of who's in, because obviously you can. But yeah, obviously the longer England goes through, there's great. We've got some big news coming up soon. once we go into season, what's happening next year. But there's a lot of changes and whatnot. And I'll just thank you very much for supporting us over the last couple of years, and more so over this last season. And over the last month, there's pretty much nearly 250,000 of you what have been viewing content across our website, across our YouTube channel. So if the only downside is that a lot of people who are watching our channel, watching it for the first time, aren't subscribing. So if everyone who's been watching it subscribed, we would be rocking it in up the path, mate. And we would definitely be the number one Millwall show on YouTube by a huge way. So get there and that. So anything else, gents, you want to biggest bells? Biggest bell.
Yeah, I
was,
just want the last sort of couple of minutes.
Wear West Ham shirts on holiday. That's not true. Listen, right. Listen, Michael, right. I could have edited that out, right? But if you listen to it, you know exactly when I said that the West Ham fella was giving us dodgy looks. You know exactly what I meant to say. But hey, it is what it is. We are live, and some days, we make issues. So we say the wrong word, so it's what it is. But I'm not going to edit it out. More so because Stephen fucking come out and outed me, and then it just carried on for another 10 minutes. You'd have not got a podcast if I'd have fucking edited it out. So look for the YouTube chat, Gainer.
There was a couple of people that come up to me at the game yesterday and was like, Mickey definitely said that about the West Ham show. I was like, oh God, started something here. But it was all good fun. All good fun, mate. As Michael said there, all good fun. We know you're Millwall, mate.
It's all good fun. It's for you, mate. I've just posted that link again, Gainer. So, I saw 2 kids' West Ham shirts for sale on eBay. Yeah, fuck off. But no, look, thank you. And hopefully come next season, we will get more of you in. We listen to every time you come up to us and say, yesterday in the pubs and all that, I had about fucking 20 people come up and people I've never seen in my life going, oh, you're Mickey Simpson, and you instantly think, shit, I'm going to get punched in the head here. Hang on. And no, it's all good. Thank you very much for everyone. And Connor, we listen to you. I know you're another one who listens to us on the way to work on a Monday morning. Connor, we've listened to you and others, and do not worry, Spaces will be coming back next season on certain days, because I know a lot of you listen on Twitter and want to get involved with the voice. You don't necessarily want to be typing, and that'll be it. Our dream is that we can combine this and the space together. We are working on that, but unfortunately they do make it fucking hard to be able to do it. But we are working on it, and hopefully next season we'll be able to do it. So, anyway, Jay, I think you're going to need to run off shortly anyway, because your agent said we could only have you for a certain amount of time.
Well, this is it, mate. With the way the pod's going now, it's blowing up. I've had to get myself an agent in us. So, you're on the clock. This is my appearance agent. That is not my acting agent. So, no, I just wanted to touch on before we did dive off, chaps, is who's going down? It's Huddersfield and Birmingham. They drew in a must-win game for both. Plymouth lost. Sheffield Wednesday won. So I want to know your thoughts on who's going down. I'll start first before we end it, and I'm going to say that as it is now, I think Birmingham and Huddersfield Huddersfield have done anyway. They need to win, I think, 15-0. So who's going to join them?
I think Huddersfield are down. There's no way they're gonna overturn the goal difference. I can't see Birmingham beating Norwich, and I think the goal difference, Plymouth have got about 4 goal. They're ahead by 4 goals, which would mean that they'd have to get battered, and Birmingham with a draw. I think Plymouth will lose, but I don't think Birmingham will beat Norwich, and I think Birmingham will go down potentially on goal difference, which would be really, really funny. I think it's going to be Birmingham. I just can't see them getting a win.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, it's all. I mean, if Birmingham win, then basically, if Birmingham win or in Plymouth Argyle win, then it's going to be Wednesday, isn't it? Because they're on the lowest goal difference, isn't they?
Yeah,
They're on
but
minus 26.
it depends what if they get a point. If Sheffield
Wednesday don't win, yeah, if they get a point, but if they don't win and they lose, then it's going to be Wednesday. We got, if the others do, even if Birmingham does win, and personally, I could just see fucking Rowett pulling it out of the bag and getting a win, and scraping it by that.
Norwich
have
got so much to play for, though. Still, like Norwich, they got so much to play for. They're going to want to go and give them an hiding. So it's
yeah. No, I think Birmingham.
They've all got top of the table for their last game. Like it couldn't be any better. Yeah. Someone's got to pull a miracle off. Like, he wouldn't have it any other way.
Personally, I want Sheffield Wednesday to go down to a degree, purely and simply because I've got a pal who's a Sheffield United fan, and I run a championship group, and he's already in that group, or will be coming to join that group next season, and having him and Wednesday and that constant fucking bickering between them both will drive me mad. So one of them needs to not be in that group. So if Wednesday go down, it will save me a lot of pain. But part of me wants Birmingham to go down so that it will be, Rowett will end up taking them down. But do you know what? I don't really care about the bottom half as long as Leeds don't make the playoffs. Yeah. And then they're here for next season. That would be a much, much better.
Well, I could tell you ain't going down
for me.
Fucking us. That's who ain't going down.
I'll be honest with you, though. We're not
going down.
I am looking at the bottom of the league because I think if Plymouth stay in the league, that's a team that's going to be down the bottom next season. Sheffield Wednesday, I think, again, I don't know how much because the issues with the owners. If Birmingham stay up with their plans of, global domination and taking over the world, they're likely to get themselves out of trouble. So I'm kind of looking at it from that point of view. Get rid of Birmingham, send them down, and then go from there.
There we go, isn't it? So yeah. So then, chaps, going on to going forward, Swansea away, last game of the season. You boys going? Omar's going. I think no. A few others are.
I won't be there.
No, I'm not going. I've got
it's one of
other commitments.
It's one of those
I'm
games
away
isn't it?
That weekend. So no, I won't see it. But I want him to play the
anywhere
kids.
Nice.
No, I'm going to see family. A bit of a drive away, so I won't be around from this Wednesday till the following Wednesday. So. Which I'm nice. Glad because otherwise I'd have been glued to the phone checking if we was going to stay up or not. So I'm pretty glad. But look, he's got what he wanted. Harris, his unbeaten home record. Now let's see Mayer, Nisbet for 90, Imarku. Let's see what we got. And like we said last week, couldn't have cared if we lost to Plymouth 10-0 or Swansea 10-0. We beat Plymouth, so either or, I'm going to be sitting there with a big smile on my face come. What will it be? 3:00 when the season finally ends? Because it won't be us.
Yeah. It's all what do you call it as well, isn't it? It's all a 12:30 kickoff, isn't it?
Every game, yes. All 12:30. So so it's going to be very busy. I'll be more inclined to check on Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday, and I will be on us, to be honest with you, because. We're here next season. They might not be, so I want to see what we got to plan for next year. So, I think we'll have 1 foot on the beach next week. This week was important to maintain that home record, but next week would be nice send off, nice little trip to Wales with nothing to play for.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, I totally agree with you. So, we'll see what your predictions are. I'll grab your predictions in there. Peter Sullivan. Stephen, were you on the show Friday? You were, weren't you? Yeah, you were on the show Friday.
Yeah.
Peter Sullivan says, Friday was funny. After that match podcast, there was 5 of them giving match thoughts almost in tears. Basically, if you don't know, we found a live watch along what a Leeds fan was doing, and then literally as soon as he finished, which is a good idea, as soon as they finished this sort of thing. They'd done a live watch along like this, and then as soon as they finished, they went into a show like what we do, straight afterwards for instant max reaction, which is, quite a good thing, good idea and stuff. And the me and Stephen, as soon as the show ended, were in hysterics because we were watching it and literally saw most of the listeners in our chat suddenly join their chat and start abusing these Leeds fans. Heavily, like laughing and everything. So,
Tony W, I've been trolling him for days. Love that.
He was nearly crying, mate, the lad. It was funny. We were like that, see you next season, all that. Because you've got to think about the mentality of those players. The players were in the mentality of, we're going up. And now potentially it's in the hands of Ipswich. And potentially they could be playing another month's worth of football.
Yeah.
And that must be hard as a player to go from we're up to now we're not. So, loads.
They've only got themselves to blame. They've all not wanted to win it at some point, haven't they? Leicester was bottling it, and Leeds had the opportunity, and then their Leeds are bottling it, and then Ipswich couldn't beat Hull. It's final day magic, and that's what we want in this league. That's what makes this league, in my opinion, the toughest league in the world, and definitely the most exciting and the most entertaining. So, yeah, all good fun. But yeah, chat, if you'd like to see us do something like that, let us know.
Yeah. Stephen, final thoughts, fella?
Just really echo what you guys said a bit earlier. I'd said this to you the other day on the phone, Mickey. The first time we did a live show together, when obviously just after I joined the podcast, we had, I think, 15 people watch us. And we did it. We enjoyed it. It was good fun. We had the similar chat, but we had 15 people watch us. And the fact now that, we can see across all the socials, it's 340 at the moment. We have over, a lot of people watch us, which we appreciate. People come up to us, people message us. They, sometimes it's a piss take, sometimes it's telling us that it's great or whatever it might be. But this has been my first full season with you guys. Obviously, the chat. Thank you for the support. I'm not at Swansea next week.
It's not.
Yeah, here we go. That's it. I'm getting me P60 or P45 or whatever it is.
You're not. You're fine.
But thank you for the support. As Dan Riggs just put there, please like and subscribe. It does mean a lot to us. We love our football club. We love talking about it. We love going to the games. It's really really great that you back us as much as we do. Laura and Richard making stuff for us. That stuff is really, really cool. So thank you very much. The last thing from me on this show, I'm going to say it probably for the next couple. Come and watch me make an idiot of myself at the Den on the 17th of May. I know there's a few of you already coming, but if you fancy it, charity game for the Food Hub. All the content's coming over the summer. And one more. Who are you? Please get in contact with us and we can get them done over the summer. There's so many of you in here that have got a story to tell on your time supporting Millwall. So get in contact with us.
No worries. To be fair, Jay, your Who Are You went down really well. Fans seem to like your show, mate.
Yeah, it did.
So
and
what you said.
And it wasn't. Sorry, before we go on. It wasn't 3 hours long, so anybody that has watched it, don't worry. Don't worry. It wasn't 3 hours long, and the kickoff, Peter, is 6:30. By the way,
it was about an hour long, but 58 minutes of it took up on how much I hate Jermaine Beckford. But no, look, I just want to sign off by saying, look, I'm obviously away for next week, so I won't be on the pod.
4 hours.
Yeah, so look, I won't be on the pod, but look, a few months back, Mickey put out a little thing, said who wants to come on, and I jumped on and went, you know what, mate, I'll come on and have a chat with you. And it still feels like I've been here forever now. So I just wanted to thank Mickey, Stephen, Dan, Chaps, Ben Green, Alex Grace, everybody that I may or may not have mentioned, and the chat as well for embracing me and welcoming me to the team and to the pod, and hopefully I'll be here moving forward, and we're going to do good things, and it's only going to get better. So I won't see you at the end of this season. This is my last show for this season, but I'll see you all in the off season. And yeah, thanks for the support, and like, share, subscribe.
You'll be back for
with that.
Yeah, you'll be back for the preview.
When?
You'll be back for where we do the review. Well, that'll be after
Yes.
after the season ends. We do.
Yeah. So
And
after
also-
the season. Yeah.
So you'll
But
be
in
back
terms
on
of this
there, that's
season,
fine,
in terms of this season, this is me signing off
yeah.
for this season.
That's
Just
it.
thank you for everyone for embracing me. It's been great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
No,
just
that's
one
it,
more
that's
thing
it.
from me. Sorry, Mick. Just
yes,
before you
Bobby's-
do your final spill.
I'll be
Sorry,
doing
one more.
Bobby's soon, don't worry.
One more thing from me. We are going to be doing, guys, a That Millwall podcast end of season awards. We do have ideas from it. However, if there's any categories or anything, a little bit that you'd like to see us do with that, or anything in the off season reviewing or whatever, give us a shout. But we do have an idea for it. So any ideas from you guys would be most appreciated. I'm done now, Mickey.
And we might be doing we might be doing an extended version next Friday. We might be starting a little bit earlier, but we'll let you know on that one as we go on through the week. My thoughts are this: look, thank you very much to all the guys and the people who watch us week in, week out. Those of you now on Twitter as well, thank you very much. Hopefully, we've shown that we do listen to you. We do put your comments up. We do. Thoroughly enjoy the interaction, the piss take. Massive respect to Richard or Rich and Lou, and we'll be doing more with those come the close season. We'll sort all of those out, and we'll be able to do more stuff. We got lookalikes, fucking hell. We'll have a few of those. So yeah, we'll have. Fucking hell. We'll have a lot of things coming for the new season and merch and different bits and pieces for that. We'll have a charity bit next season as well and stuff like that, and the usual faces. What I will say is thank you very much, Neil Harris, for coming back and doing John proud, because it looked at some point that the players weren't going to do that. And I think that it would have been an absolute travesty if this team had got relegated this season. And I think it would have been very, very disrespectful for his memory if that had happened, especially when all your comments, what you come out with at the beginning of the season, with what you were going to do and everything else. Yet, you didn't really do it with the three managers, and then Neil come in and managed to make sure that you understood the seriousness of what was going on. So thanks very much for Neil for that. Thanks very much for obviously everyone else. Can we do What Are You, Bobby, instead? I'm going to do Bobby shortly. And ideally what we want to do is see if we can get as many of you as possible, so that then we could just release one once a week. So if anyone does want to come in, there is I think we've posted it before, but I can post it in the link after this show for those of you who want to do it, and you can just put your details in and go from there. Those of you with prizes from last week, I've got your emails. It's been a bit mad week at work, but I've got your emails, so I will sort those out. Those of you who haven't already picked up. And other than that, thank you very much. It's the show's growing. What we want you to do is press the subscribe button, press the like button, because what that does is by just subscribing and pressing like, etc., it helps us with YouTube. So basically what that does is it will then put it in front of more Millwall fans and more people who search Millwall content and etc., etc. So if you do see any of our videos, please do watch them, because then again it tells YouTube that we're doing okay, and they then push us in front of everyone else, and that's it. So yeah, we roll on to Swansea next week. There are going to be a few of us there, I think, and if you see us, come say hi. Other than that, that is it from us for this week. We're back on Friday, and that will be the live before Swansea, and then we'll come back with a live after Swansea. And then I think the following Friday, Jay is back by then. I think we'll probably do a live where we will do the end of season That Millwall Podcast Awards. Maybe the best looky likey and our player of the season, etc., and we'll be doing some votes along that, so you'll be able to get involved in that. But other than that, that's it. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your week, and send us a message if you want us. Laters.
Oh, giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall and we're going today. Here we go. Rocking all over the dance.